everyone, it's Bethany. Welcome back. In this tutorial, I'm going to be doing some little wrap cups. I have been asked so many times to do a tutorial on this, so here it is. So we are going to be creating two separate wrap cups. So on the first one, we are going to do the traditional wrap where we wrap all the way around, and then the second one, we are going to do a circular design around the logo on the cup. So I'm super excited. They're going to be really fun and pink, and I think they're going to turn out really, really pretty. So I have two different colors of vinyl. This is a Cricut vinyl, I believe, and then this is a Paper Studio vinyl. Both are a permanent vinyl, which I would recommend for any type of drinkware. And then I also have my weeding tool. I bought these in a 2-pack, so I will link where I purchased these on Amazon. And they came with, of course, the lids and the straws as well. And then I have some transfer tape. So we're going to hop into Design Space. I'm going to show you where I found a template file. I purchased one on Etsy that is really, really awesome, and it makes designing the little wrap cups so easy. All right, let's get started.
Okay, so now that I'm in Cricut Design Space, I'm going to come over to Upload. It's the bottom button on the left-hand side, and I am going to go ahead and bring in an image that I purchased from Etsy, so I need to put it into Design Space. If you need help learning how to upload images that you purchase elsewhere other than Cricut Design Space, I'll place a link in the top right-hand corner to help you with that. So I'm going to go ahead and select this, and I'm going to Insert Images. And this is essentially a template that is going to help me design my little design for my cold cup wrap. So what I like about it is that it gives you this little bonus grid, and that can be really helpful when designing, and then it gives you lots of different elements that will help with designing. So I'm going to come over here and ungroup. One thing you want to make sure of is that you don't resize anything once it's in here. Now they do in this file, particular file that I purchased at least, they do give you an extra little dimension thing over here in your file that makes so you can make sure that everything is at the right dimension for the cup. Another thing that you want to make sure of is that you purchase the right template for your cup. So my cup that I purchased is a venti cup, so I made sure to purchase a template for a venti cup. Okay, so now that that is all out of the way, I'm going to decide which of the pieces that I'm going to use when designing. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to use this for my circular design on one of my cups, and then I'm actually not going to use this, so I will go ahead and delete that. Before I get started, one other thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to make this black template a light gray. It's just a little bit easier on my eye to see what I'm going to be doing. And then I'm also going to make this maybe more of a pink, just to kind of help me visually get everything ready. Okay, so the first one I want to do is I think I'm going to work on this little circular design that's going to go on one of the cups. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make this I'm going to use two different pinks today. I'm going to have a lighter pink and a darker pink. So I think this first one is going to be the darker pink. So I'm going to go ahead and just decide on which pink I really want. Okay, so I have a pink selected. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in over here so that we can really see how I'm going to design this portion. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place text on the top and the bottom, and I'm going to spell out "I love you a latte." Now this is not an original idea. I've seen it many places. I think it's so cute and very fun for Valentine's Day, so I wanted to do one for myself, and I'm just making these cups for myself. So I am going to come over to the text box, and I am going to just use the font Cricut Sans. I think it's actually pretty accurate, and it does a really good job of like recreating the whole Starbucks look. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and for my first line I'm going to type in I and you, because I'm going to do a little heart for the love. Actually, I'm going to spell out you, and I'm doing all capital letters. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to just bring this over here. I'm going to add another text box, and I will say a latte. Okay, so I'm going to do the bottom first, and what I'm going to do is I am going to come up and I am going to curve my text. So I'm just going up to the curve button. I'm going to drag that to the left so it curves it up kind of like a smiley face, And then this part kind of takes a lot of fiddling with, so just take your time and get as picky or not as picky as you would like. I'm just going to align it on that template, oops, there, and then I'm just going to kind of keep getting it kind of close to where I want. Now it's not going to be perfect, but I'm just going to kind of get it close to where I want, and then I am going to come up and ungroup the letters. So ungrouping the letters allows me to move them individually. Actually, I'm going to go back really quick, and I am going to size that down just a little bit. It was looking a little big. So I think that actually looks a lot better. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is, I don't like how far apart these letters are, and you could come up to letter spacing and just decrease the letter spacing, but I feel like I'm going to have to do some work manual anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to ungroup, and what that does is it ungroups each individual letter, so then you can work with them individually. And then if you need to turn them, you'll just use this little toggle individually on there to get everything just right. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just get everything placed exactly where I would like it, and then I'll show you how I'll do the top. Okay, so I have the bottom part where I would like it. So now what I'm going to do is work on this top part, and I'm just going to do that somewhat in the same fashion. I'm going to come up and I'm going to curve it the other direction so it kind of looks like a frowny face, and then I am going to size that down so that those fit just a little bit better. I can decrease that curve a little bit and size it. And then I'm going to need to add my love, which I'm going to do in the form of a heart. So let me just get this a little bit where I want it, and then I'll add that heart in as well. I'm thinking that looks really good. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ungroup my letters, and I'm just going to bring them apart a little bit so that I can fit my little heart in there. And I'll just move this over and kind of drag it this way. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'll come over to shapes, and I'm just going to select a heart, and then I am going to size that down for my project. Now, one thing I want to do is I'm just going to make this black so that it matches the rest of the words here. And I will just get that kind of looking how I intended. That looks pretty good. Okay, so now all I have to do is worry about spacing. And again, I ungrouped everything to letters, so now I will just kind of individually drag and drop everything and get them all where I want them. So when I'm working with the letters and I am rotating them, I'm just making sure they line up nicely with the top. So it was originally like this, and I don't really like that look, so I just make it so that U has even distance on both sides, if you will, or both tips at the top, so that just looks a little better to my eye. And then again, same example with the Y, is I'll just rotate that just a little bit so that both of the little tops of the Y have that same amount of distance to the top of that little circle there. And then I'm just simply just worrying about spacing at this point, and then I will show you how we're going to get this all finished up. Okay, so I really like how this looks. Now the next step I'm going to do is I am going to remember that I ungrouped all of these letters, so they're all individual over here. So what I'm going to do is I am, with the command button held down on my Mac keyboard, I'm going to select all of my letters. Now this is an important part because the next thing we're going to do is we are going to slice. So you can select them over here, or you can come over here and you can select them in the layers panel over here. Now the reason you want to do this is you can't slice multiple layers, you can only slice 2 layers at a time. So we need to take all of these layers and make them one layer. So now that we have all of them selected, what we're going to do is we are going to weld them together, and welding them makes them one layer. So now what we can do is we can select our I Love You a Latte layer. We can select the little template behind it, which is that pink circular template, and then we have them all ready to go. So now what we can do is say slice. Now what that does is it slices the text out of our little background area, and that is going to be our final little design that we're going to cut out on adhesive vinyl. So now you can delete both of these and you're all set to go. Okay, so I'm going to set that to the side, and the next thing we are going to work on is our actual wrap. So this is going to be a separate idea for the second cup that we're going to work on, and I have this little piece as well that I'm going to use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using hearts, and I think it'll be really, really cute, very fun for Valentine's Day, and really fun all year long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to images, and I am going to, in the search bar, I'm just going to search for heart, and then I will select the heart files that I want to use. So there are only a million. There are tons of choices to choose from. So you'll just want to choose which is best for you. I love this heart. I just love the look of it. So I'm going to use that for one of them. And then I'm just going to see which other one. I'm going to do 2 different colors on this. So I want to have 2 different types of hearts. Okay, so I have 2 hearts that I'm going to work with. So this first heart is going to be the same color as this. So I'm just going to go ahead and make that the same color. The reason why I'm worried about that is because I want this to cut out on the same piece of vinyl. So I'm going to determine which one is best to color code that. And then the next one is going to be a lighter pink. So I'm just going to drag that to a lighter pink. Okay, so now I am all set to go. Now what I'm going to do is I am just going to size these down for my cup because I want them to be a lot smaller, and then I'm going to start arranging them on the actual cup. So let's see, that looks just about right. I'm going to bring these up here and see. Yeah, I like the size of those. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I am simply going to start rotating them around. That's why I really like this grid. It kind of helps you allow you to rotate and kind of see what visually looks best, and it's really, really helpful. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start kind of rotating little hearts around and placing them on my actual grid. And then what I'm doing is I am just saying copy and paste on my keyboard to create a variety of hearts. That way it just gives me the same heart with the same dimensions. You can also come up here and just keep hitting duplicate, but it's also easiest to just do it on your keyboard. If you're using a Mac, it's just Command C to copy and then Command V to paste, and it just makes really quick work out of it to do it that way. So I'm just duplicating my heart multiple times, and I'm placing it around my cup. And of course, again, you can continue to rotate it around however you'd like. I'm just getting everything kind of placed, and then I can also go back and tweak them if I don't like their placement or if I need to move them around. But this is the fun part about it, is you just can get everything kind of placed where you would like it. And again, remember, you can do any design you'd like. You don't have to do hearts just because I'm doing hearts, but this is a cute idea, I think. Okay, so I think I'm going to do one more right here, and then I'm going to come in and start working on the next heart. So I'm going to start again just duplicating that heart and placing that in some available spots. And then one other thing I'm going to do is I am going to make sure that I cut out some extra hearts aside from the template. So you'll see me do that in just a second, but that's just going to give me some extra hearts to work with once I'm applying it on the actual cup, just in case I need a couple more in some spaces to do some fillers. I'm mainly worried about just the sides here, so I'm going to cut some extra hearts out just so that I have some to play around with once we get to designing on the actual cup. Okay, so this looks really, really good. I love how it is turning out. Now, one thing I'm going to do again is I'm going to create some additional hearts. I think I'm going to do probably 4 additional hearts for each color, just so I have some extras. So I'll go ahead and make those really quick. That way I just have some extras to work with once my cup is ready to be made. So I'll just bring those down here. Okay, so what I want to do next is I want to take this circle part. This is sized exactly for the middle part where the actual logo for the cup is, but what I'm going to do is I am going to duplicate it so that I have 2. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make one the first color of my hearts, and I'm going to make the second one the second color for my hearts. Okay, so now I'm going to place it right in the center here, and this is kind of going to be how I'm going to really make sure that my hearts line up on my cup when it comes to the application part. So now what I want to do is I'm just going to place my pink hearts down here, because what the next step is going to be is I'm going to attach them all together so that my Cricut will cut out all my hearts exactly how I see them on the screen. Now that is a super important part, because right now if you were to say make it, then all of your hearts would be everywhere, and that is not going to work with all the hard work you just did, and then you would have to manually place them all. So what we need to do now is we need to attach everything so that everything cuts exactly where we placed it on the template. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to the actual template and I'm going to hide it because I don't really need it any longer at this point. I have my design all ready to go. Okay, so now what I'm going to do next is I am going to take all of my dark pink pieces and I am going to attach them all together. So you can do it any way you'd like, but I'm gonna do it over in the layers panel. So I'm just gonna go through and select all of my dark pink pieces, and now that I have all of them selected, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and I am going to say attach. Okay, so now what that does is it makes sure that all of these pieces will cut exactly where I place them. Now, of course, as you see, it's going to waste some vinyl in the middle, but trust me, I'm okay with that happening if it makes the application process a lot easier. So I just hit the back button so that the next part that I'm going to do is I'm going to place, let me bring this to the front. Let's see, send to front. I'm going to place this circle right over the top of the circle that I already have. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to hide my dark pink hearts, or that dark pink layer. And I'm just going to come up here and I'm going to hide it with the little eye icon. Now this is going to be a lot easier to attach the second one because I can just drag everything and then attach it. Okay, so now all of this is attached as one. Now I want to go and make sure that I unhide my other layer so that it's all ready to go. And then now I am ready to cut. So I have my Explore Air 2 selected. I can go ahead and say make it. And then it's going to place my designs on individual mat just like I had them color coded and just how I attached them, so everything will be placed like I want it. So now what I want to do is I'm going to strike this up here so that it uses some of the vinyl there. I'm all set to go. I do not need to mirror anything because I'm using adhesive vinyl, so now I'm all set. So I'm going to go ahead and say continue. It's going to locate my Explore Air 2 and then I can set my material. So I keep my dial set to custom at all times. It's just how I work. So I'm going to browse all materials and then I'm going to browse all the way down to vinyl and I'm going to use the setting premium vinyl. Then I'll go ahead and say done and I can load my first mat and get cutting.
Okay, so the mat that it's calling for first is my dark pink. So I'm going to go ahead and place that on my mat. Again, I'm using a premium Cricut vinyl that is permanent. So that is going to be perfect for drinkware. I'm just going to place that right on there. And then this is going to do my first layer of hearts plus that circular design for my second cup. So I'll go ahead and load it into the mat by pushing the flashing arrows, and then I'll push the C when it is ready to cut. While that's cutting, I am just going to place a little bit of rubbing alcohol on my cups, and this is just going to clean the surface and make sure that it is all cleaned and ready to go for applying vinyl to it. So this really just helps make sure there's no dust or dirt or oils from your hands on the surface, and that will help the vinyl really lay down nice. Okay, so the first one is all complete, so I'm going to go ahead and unload my mat. I'm going to turn my mat over and then peel the mat away from my vinyl. And then I'll load my next color and get it all cut out. So while that second one is cutting, I am just going to trim off all of my extra vinyl so that I don't waste all of it. So if there's any areas that have some vinyl that I can save, I'm just going to get that all trimmed off and save in my little bin. Okay, so now I'm just going through and weeding out the vinyl designs that I have cut. And weeding is just taking any part of the design out that you do not want in your final look. So for me, it is going to be the middles of these hearts as well as the background. And then I'll let you watch me weed the other one as well. Now remember, we have our little extra hearts down here. So once everything is weeded, we will cut those apart so that we can just set those aside during the application process and then use them at the very end. Okay, now again, I have this middle template there, and that's just going to help me line up my template on the actual cup. It's going to help me here, but don't worry, it's not a permanent piece of our design. So even though I'm taking out all the pieces that I don't want in my final design, I'm going to leave that piece in because it's going to help me in just a moment. Okay, so then this is my other design that I have, and let's see, let's probably actually cut these apart. That way we can easily weed them separately. Sometimes with these, I also like to scrape them down just to make sure everything is in its place before I begin weeding. That can be really helpful, and it's really a quick tip that can be pretty effective. Okay, so again, just weeding out the pieces that will not be in my final design. And for this, I am actually weeding the letters out. So let me get this middle piece out and then we'll start with the letters. Okay, so now I'm just going through and weeding out all of the letters. It's going to turn out so cute. Let me know if you have done a wrap cup yet. This is my first time doing it. Like I said, I kind of had to wait until I was really inspired with what to do. And I thought this idea was super, super cute when I saw it online. So it definitely was me. I think it's super cute and definitely pink. Okay, so I'm just finishing up weeding out my design here. And again, yes, there is a lot of vinyl that's wasted on this particular project, but for me, I don't see it that way for this project because I'm at least thankful that everything's going to be placed exactly where it needs to go. Okay, so again, leaving that circle on the design as well. I'm just making sure really quick that I didn't leave any hearts on here. And then again, what we want to do is we want to remove the extra hearts from our design here. So I'm going to just snip those off, put those to the side, do the same here, and then we're going to grab our transfer tape and get started. Let's go ahead and do this one first. That will be quick and easy. So what we'll do is grab our little transfer tape here. I would recommend definitely going with a clear transfer tape for this project because it's a project that you're really going to need to see through and underneath. So it's going to be a really good idea to have something that is clear. Okay, scrape that down, turn it over, scrape it down again, and then we'll get our cup. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to kind of make a little boat with just a regular towel. You can use a kitchen towel or a bath towel, anything, just to kind of steady the actual cup while you're working. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that my vinyl is face down, and I'm going to peel away the cutting sheet or carrier sheet, leaving the design on the transfer tape. Okay, so now I'm going to make sure I'm right overhead my design so I can get it all lined up. And this is right here is why it's so important to do the clear transfer tape. So I'm just going to get that lined up right where I want it. Okay, I think that is Good, so I'm just going to lay that there, and then I'm going to start in the middle and run my thumb from top to bottom. And then I'm just going to carry that motion out towards the side, just like that. I'm going to do the same going the other direction. And then I'm going to bring my scraper tool in and really reinforce that pressure. I think I got a nice even look on that. That's going to look so cute. Okay. Okay, so now that I've done that, I'm going to just slowly peel away the transfer tape. And my design is left right on the cup. How cute is that? Oh my goodness, I love how it turned out and I love the color. So fun. Okay, so let's set this to the side and let's do the next cup. So the next one's right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some parchment paper because I think that's going to be really helpful and you'll see why. Okay, so I have just a little piece of parchment paper here that I'm going to set to the side. And it doesn't matter, you can place any piece down first. I'm just going to trim off the edges here. The less material you have to work with, I think the better. So I'm just trimming off any little pieces that I can. Okay, and then I'll grab a piece of transfer tape. Okay, so, whoa, that just cleaned there. Actually, that worked out fine. Okay, and I'll go ahead and rub that down, scrape it down. Perfect. And do the back. Okay, now this is where the parchment paper is going to come in handy. So I'm going to get all of my vinyl on the transfer tape, and then I'm going to use this, but I don't want it to stick to my cup. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut a small piece to cover that part up so that it blocks it from actually going down on my cup. And if a little bit goes down, that's fine, but for the most part I want that to not be on my cup. So do you see how I did that there? I just have a piece of parchment paper covering the circle because I want to use it to actually get everything aligned, but it's not going to be a permanent part of my cup. You do not have to do this. You can probably just rip it off at the end of your cup, but I just figured this will be easiest and it takes 2 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this down, and then I'm going to start lining it up. Okay. Just like that. Okay, so now I'm just going to get my transfer tape to start sticking. And then I'm going to go out towards the right. Really just focusing on the areas where those hearts are. And then out towards the left. And again, focusing my pressure right on where the hearts are. Now you'll see that my transfer tape on the back is covering that section, so I'm just going to kind of pull that up a little bit so I can lay these down. There we go. Okay, real quick, I'm going to go through with my scraper and just make sure all of those little hearts are down. Give them all a little bit of pressure there. Encourage any bubbles to come out if any are present. Okay. And now I'm just going to peel away my transfer tape. So I'll just go nice and slow. And I'm going to be careful with this transfer tape because I'm going to reuse it for my other layer. You can always reuse transfer tape. And then of course that comes off very easily because we have the parchment paper right on there. Whoops, one of mine did not stick down. Let's see, we're probably right about there. Okay, perfect. So now I'm going to take this little piece of parchment paper off and we're going to bring in our next piece. So let's grab our transfer tape again. Let's see if we can get this off. There we go. and reuse our transfer tape. Just like that. Scrape it down. Okay, and then again placing my little piece here, and I'm going to cut it down a little bit because there's a heart really close to it that I don't want to cover up. Okay, perfect. Okay, and then again using this circle to line it up with the little logo there so I know exactly where to place everything. Okay, that looks good. And then I'm just going to focus on that middle part, really getting that down, and then I'll go towards the sides, just like I did last time. So going to the right. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. And going to the left. Okay, there we go. All right, so, oh my goodness, honestly, I don't know that I need that many extra hearts. That looks really good. In fact, in the back, I don't know that I would place any more in there. That actually wrapped really well. I'm happy I have the extra just in case, but I don't think I'm going to actually use them. Maybe one right there wouldn't hurt, so maybe like a little, and I'm not even going to use transfer tape for these. They are so small and easy that you can just easily lay them down like you would a sticker. Just kind of place that. Actually, that does look really good putting one there. But yeah, I think that actually turned out really, really good without having to put any extra stickers on there. How cute is that? I think these turned out really, really sweet. Okay, so here's the final two cups. I think they turned out really, really cute. I love how they turned out. I love how pink they are. I love the double color on this one. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was really fun. This turned out to be a little bit longer of a tutorial, but honestly, there's a lot of steps that go into this. Again, I just made these for myself for personal use. I just thought this is kind of a little to me from me gift, but I thought these would be really fun to sip out of. So I thought these were really, really fun design. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, you can do any design you want. It's super easy, and using a template makes it even easier. All right, everyone, have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video.